So today we're going to be talking about how the mind works. And there's two um, forms of operation for which the mind works, and that is the conscious and the subconscious mind. So the conscious mind is our rational, rational ways of thinking. So we're going to say rational thinking. And our subconscious mind operates on, can anyone guess? I don't know if it's 2 R's or 1. Irrational ways of thinking. Not the best speller, but it's okay. Irrational ways of thinking. So our conscious is the rational mind, and our subconscious is the irrational mind. So in our conscious mind, in the rational thinking, that's things, practical things like where we choose to live, our partner we choose to be with in life, what books we read, what movies we watch. And those are all dictated by our conscious mind. So those are those practical choices. And the subconscious mind is more impressed upon. So it's like belief systems. If you're scared of birds, that's a belief that all birds are scary. When you go out in the world and you experience and see birds, you're gonna think they're scary. And everything that's impressed upon in the subconscious mind derives from what we do with our conscious mind, so our rational thinking. So what we choose in life through our conscious mind creates the reality for how we experience the world with our subconscious mind, our imaginary mind. Said, the beginning and the ending of suffering begins with the conscious mind. Our conscious mind, when we were younger, was always being impressed upon by our teachers, by our peers, by everything in the world, the objective world around us. And if we don't understand how the mind works, a lot of the things that are going in and out of our head is what affects our subconscious mind if we're not the ones creating what we choose to believe in. Because remember, our beliefs from our conscious mind, is what's creating the reality for which we see life through our conscious mind. Through our conscious mind. For example, if you're always told growing up that you're a very quiet person, you don't have confidence, you struggle with this, you have problems with that, consciously, if you start to believe the things that were told to you by all these different people in your life, whether it's parents, teachers, peers, it's going to affect how you subconsciously think about yourself. So if you're not careful. So the key here is, and that's why we have a lot of issues today, a lot of people, young people who, whether they have any kind of addiction or fighting anything or these misaligned self-beliefs, it stems from the beliefs that were brought upon, impressed upon their conscious mind by the outside world, the objective world. You can choose what you believe in, which affects your subconscious mind. So instead, you can choose to believe in happiness, joy, love, peace, contrary to what everyone's telling you, which will affect your subconscious mind. That's an arrow. And in turn, affect how you see yourself and how you view reality, in which case you're changing your reality. So people are telling you a certain thing, but you're getting a different result within yourself because you're choosing to let go of what you believe. Things can only enter the subconscious through your choice. So it's not like anything you hear that enters your conscious mind automatically is going to be in your subconscious and that's your reality. No, you choose it. So at the end of the day, your conscious mind is the gatekeeper to your inner world. So you can choose what you let pass through. You can choose to let the negative thoughts and feelings pass through your conscious mind, which you're going to start to see that reality if you keep meditating on that. When I say meditating on that, regularly throughout your days, thinking upon those things. To shift that, you simply get rid of the things that don't serve you and take on the things that do serve you. If they empower you, they give you love, peace, joy, happiness, these different things. It's self-empowerment, because that's all at the end of the day. What you put into your subconscious mind, if it helps you, is going to self-empower you. Self-empower you. And that's what you want at the end of the day. So That's how that's achieved. All right, and now we're gonna dive deep into how our conscious mind actually works. So, hold on. Forgive my artwork here. So our conscious mind operates in these formats, as you can see here. It's impacted upon by what we see through our sight, what we taste, through our mouth, through our taste senses, through our touch, how we feel, how we interact with the world. Forgive me, this is an ear. If this was the ancient times, this might be a famous painting, but this is the ear. So sound from what we hear, and smell from what we smell. These 5 senses is how we do the things like I said earlier, how we choose our partner, how we choose what books we want to read, how we choose where we want to live. All these aspects are derived from our 5 senses that we interact with this objective world. That being said, in our subconscious mind, it reacts differently. This way of experiencing the world is through our thoughts, through our intuition. It's intuitive. That's a light bulb. It's intuitive. So this intuitive way is how we see stuff. It's our imagination, I don't think I can. There we go. Through our imagination, what we imagine. And what we imagine comes into a reality based on what we constantly put into our conscious beliefs. And our conscious beliefs is affected by these senses. These senses come out for rational thinking, which affects our conscious mind. And through that conscious mind, these self-beliefs that's imposed upon by these senses of how we're interacting with our objective world is what's affecting what we imagine, what we dwell on, whether you're daydreaming, whether you're dreaming, whether you're going to the gym, you're thinking about this, whether you're in class thinking about that, you're at work and doing this. These things are all affected by what we're choosing to believe by what we're choosing to interact with in the world around us, and how we're choosing to interpret that. Now, like I was saying earlier, this is getting distracting. Since our conscious mind is the gatekeeper to our subconscious, so whatever we allow into our subconscious is how we're viewing reality. So everyone's reality, watching this, even my reality, up until now, was created based on what we allowed in, the gatekeeper, our conscious mind, allowed in, and what we choose to, how we choose to experience the world. So from what relationship you have, how you're viewing your life, how you're viewing yourself, all these things are created by our subconscious mind. And this can be changed. So if you want to have a different reality, you have to have more harmonious, more peaceful, more good thoughts, which in turn will change your reality and how you view it. Even if in physical reality, your situation hasn't changed, and you continuously doing this, your inner world will change, which in turn will change how you view your outer world. And once the outer world catches up, your outer reality will change. So whether you start at one level of a job, for example, say you're working a corporate job, you're trying to make your way up the ladder. We're gonna use the colors to say this is you at your job, and this is the ladder, and that's you. You're down here trying to get these promotions. This is how it works in life. So you view yourself one way, so that's why you're down here level 1. But once you start to change maybe your attitude, you move up to level 2, and then your time management, you move up to level 3, and then, for example, your organization, you move up to level 4, and then you're up here, and you achieve the promotion. It's the same thing with life. Once you start to change those things inwardly, you get on an upward spiral, and then just reality in the world around you has to catch up. How your friends see you, how your family sees you, how everyone sees you. So inwardly, you're gonna see it right away. This is the thing you can do instantly, right now. You can do this instantly. You're gonna see it right away. Everyone who knows you up until that point has known you to be a certain way. So when you try to change, all they can see is, oh, well, Billy, sorry, her name's Billy, has been this way for his whole life, so we know how he is. they're not going to see it right away. And then what happens here is most of us, because the reality we're living today and how everyone sees us has been the same up until that point, this current day, people get caught up on what other people are still saying about them, and the actually steps of changing their inner world gets halted because they're too focused on their outer world still. The key is we can't let our outcome circumstance, even if it's one we don't like, affect how we're trying to become that person that's going to get us to that other circumstance. Because yes, you're still going to have people doubting, you're still going to have people looking at you the same way, but you have to believe it so much that your inner world changes first before the outer world can match you. Consistency is key here, because most people, they'll go a week or 2 weeks of doing something like this and not truly seeing any changes, and then they get discouraged and think, oh, well, it's not for me, and then give up. And then that's where they should have continued going on. It could take a month, it could take a year, it could take however long it takes. But at the end of the day, it's not about the time, it's more about how you feel. And if you feel good, you feel empowered, and you're moving through life with purpose, and you're able to discover that purpose without making it feel like, oh, woe is me, you're on the right path. Stay on that path. Next thing you know, you'll look around, and your outer world will reflect back to you what you're telling yourself and believe in your inner world. So I can give you guys some examples to draw from. I'll use myself as an example. I'll give 2 examples. One has to do with my habits, and one has to do with my goals. So you guys can use this in your own life and just change it to fit with what works for you. But for example, for me, growing up, first of all, huge stoner, a lot of addictive problems. I used to be a huge stoner throughout high school. Throughout all of high school, I was high my whole life. And aside from that, started smoking when I was 13, 14, throughout high school. Senior, finally quit a little after, dwindled in it for a little bit. Used to have huge drinking problems, alcohol, drugs, cocaine, all of it. Used to indulge in all that stuff. On top of that, vaping, that was another big one. Picked that bad habit up in high school and did it for years, probably like 10 years. That being said, until I really started to change my self-belief into who I was and embody the version of myself, because there's this version of myself I saw who's like, okay, he doesn't do this, he goes to the gym, he eats healthy, he's this kind of person. Instead of me struggling to like let go of these things with my old self, because I was still that Salim that had those bad habits, and I was trying to bring that version of Salim to that place, I had to let go of that and embody the version of me who does that. How does he walk? How does he act? Instead of doing this, instead of getting a vape because he's stressed, what would he do? He'd go to the gym. Instead of smoking weed because he's bored, what would he do? He would read a book. Instead of drinking alcohol and going out with his friends, getting blacked out, what would he do? Work on a creative project. So until I started living that lifestyle and embodying it today, not striving to get it, embodying it, is when I saw the switch. Because there was times like I would go a couple months, okay, go a week, it'll fall back in, back and forth. But until I really started to walk that walk to where it didn't have power over me, so I can walk through a grocery store, see some alcohol on the shelf, drive by a dispensary, don't feel like to pull over, walk into a gas station and get gas, not feel the craving of a vape pulling me to buy one, all these different things, nicotine, was until I started to embody that person who didn't have those issues. And you got to do it like your life depends on it. Because sometimes, you're going to get symptoms of withdrawals. I have that, headaches and stuff when I go to bed from nicotine, all these different things. But it is worth it to live that self-fulfilling life and the life you're put on this earth to live. That God sent you here to live. This is the life, and this is the things, and these are the tasks we must do to achieve that. If you really want to see and feel that self-fulfillment. And now the reason I started with that example is because in order to get to that next level, that next place I wanted to be, which was being a self-employed business owner who worked for myself, I had to stop those and drop those vices because those were holding me back. They were distracting me. Days where I could have been innovating and thinking of things to do, I was getting distracted, killing time by being high, going out and drinking, or just casually vaping throughout the day, being distracted, playing video games. So I had to drop those things in order to think with a clear enough mind and even hear my subconscious, let alone my conscious thoughts, because those were being interacted with the vices. So now it brings us to today, which is my second point I'm losing my train of thought of what I was saying. Drop the vices. Until I did those things, I couldn't create my own business. So now I'm my own business owner, do a home service business in Washington State where we do exterior cleaning. Hit my goals of 10K a month. Also hit my goals of 6 figures in a year. And I'm not saying all this to flex or say all these things. What I'm saying is the version of myself I am today to even achieve those things has his habits in order, goes to the gym, eats healthy, is prioritizing doing creative projects, is prioritizing his business, is prioritizing his customers. And I wouldn't be able to achieve these things and awaken to what God was calling me to do and act in this stage of my life now and reach these things through my subconscious mind I was imagining and I wanted to live, unless I walked and stepped into that version of myself who did these things. And these were all being affected by what I was consciously indulging, from the music to who I was hanging around, which was affecting my subconscious and my self-belief, which was holding me back. And until I stepped away, I couldn't really see what was really in front of me. You find, honestly, that you're trying to do these things, you find it hard, you're getting pulled back in and out of this. Because for me, this is one thing for me. I was struggling going back and forth between what I wanted and what I was getting distracted by. But until I really did this, it was always a struggle, and it's always going to be a struggle until you really find solitude. Honestly, solitude was one of the things that helped me 100% 360. The more and more I would accidentally find myself in solitude and like clean up my act and then be able to see clearly. But then I would get invited to something, go there, fall back into the same habit, wonder what's going on until I found solitude again and would figure it out. So you can skip all those steps of wasting all that time if you just seek solitude. Because when you seek solitude and you separate yourself, you can hear your intuitive voice much clearer, especially if your mind isn't trained enough to really differentiate between the fact that you're being influenced by your outer world and you can't reject a lot of thoughts that are being impressed upon. Because some people have a really strong way, knowingly or unknowingly, of impressing their thoughts and opinions on people. And if you're not strong-minded, you can easily fall into the sway of others. So separating yourself, whether that's from family members, and even if you live with people and you're like, I live with someone, so find time, go on a walk, go down to a cafe, go to a library. I used to like to go to libraries a lot. Now I have my office I can chill in. Go for a walk. I still like to go to cafes and stuff. Find places where you can spend quiet time to yourself and truly separate from the noise, and then hear that still small voice in your head. Because there's a lot of distractions out in the world. You can see media companies pushing out marketing like crazy. Most of the most lucrative businesses in the world are media companies that attack our attention. So it just goes to show how important it is to really find that solitude, to be able to hear yourself. And then you truly start to unlock your kind of clairvoyance within the areas around you, what you're seeing. You see the world differently because you can truly see the hidden things that the eyes can't see. So this is how you tap into that, the spirit of God within you. And how you do this is to truly seek that solitude. The verse in the Bible, it says, "Be still and know that I am God." If we're always on the go, we're always hearing outer influences from other people, we're being blocked by the distractions of the world, and we're living in the world. So we need to step outside of that to truly see what's going on around us. And it's going to be liberating, and then once you notice it and see it, you don't got to go send a message and cast off everyone, but you just understand it. Because the key and the truth is, you can influence around you by how you are. And the key is, you don't want to hate on anyone as, look at these losers, they don't even understand what's going on. You want to be a beacon of hope. You want people to see you and truly see the transformation once you transform, be like, hey, how did this, because at the end of the day, you want to reflect that so people can be inspired to change their own lives. Because that's the key. At the end of the day, we want to bring harmony and peace and love and joy, these things. It's by doing these things to help yourself, because in you helping yourself, you help those around you. And then if we can continuously do that, it's just, we live in a better world, we create a better environment, and you live in harmony. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's how the mind works. That's the subconscious and the conscious mind, the basis of how these things operate, as far as our thoughts and how we experience the world. So Yeah, I truly challenge and advise you guys to take this seriously. Your life, your soul, your well-being's on the line. And even if you think you're in a position to where, well, now this happened, well, that happened, now I have these responsibilities because I'm a parent, or now this, now whatever it is, you can still do this within your own life. Sometimes the challenges that are set before us are things to struggle we need to work on. You know, if you're already short-tempered with people or things around you, maybe that's something you need to work on. If you feel impatient when you gotta wait for this or that, maybe that's something you need to work on. And that's something I'm even working on. I'm not perfect, so when problems or issues come up in our lives, these are just indicators of what we need to work on, because the reason we're happy with certain things because of things we've got mastered. The things that we need to work on, they're gonna irritate us, they're gonna feel a certain way. So yeah, that's the key, guys. Stay true, stay focused, stay aligned.